It is time for our meeting to begin. We'd like to call ourselves to order with the invocation and pledge of allegiance by Travis Reeder. We would ask that you remember the deputy who passed away, remember her family as you pray this afternoon, please.
Let us pray. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for waking us up this morning.
Yes.
Thank you for leading us in the right direction. Continue blessing us as we continue to do things for Newberry County in the way that is more gracious for our citizens.
Yes.
Dear Heavenly Father, bless the family of the fallen deputy, that they may continue to see that light in the times of darkness.
Yes.
Dear Heavenly Father, bless us as we conduct the meeting tonight and try to do the things that's best in your will and in your way.
Yes.
Thank you, Jesus, for all that you've done and all that you're going to continue to do. These blessings we ask in your holy name. Amen.
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 I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, it is a pleasure to see everyone here tonight. Are there additions or deletions to the agenda? Hearing none, is there a motion that we adopt the agenda as published? Motion by Mr. Shealy, who we are just blessed and tickled to see back with us tonight. Is there a second by Reverend Scurry? Is there a discussion? Hearing none, all in favor by show of hands. Opposed likewise. The motion carries unanimously. Next, we have public appearances. I was told that Senator Cromer had a conflict that arose at a late hour and could not be with us. He is going to reschedule for another night, so we will move along to Miss Jessie Long. You were hiding. I couldn't see you.
I'm back. So I just wanted to provide an update on the national campaign grant. So we spoke with them, and there were some things that were going to make it a little bit difficult, mainly because in order for them to install, they have to be able to pour concrete, and to pour concrete, the temperature has to be pretty high. So they were looking at it was going to have to be in October, which meant we would have to have all the money by like the end of October. So we were a little bit concerned about that tight timeline. So we are looking to hopefully apply for the 2023 grant, which should open later this month. And then that way we have more time to raise that money, and the installation would be sometime in spring. So we provided an agenda briefing on that, and I think you also may have gotten a brochure that we've kind of thrown together as a draft brochure right now on kind of how we're planning on raising those funds. So we just wanted to keep you apprised of where we were with that and continue, hopefully have your support in that venture.
Okay. Are there any questions for Ms. Long? Hearing none, thank you so very much.
All
We
right.
appreciate your efforts on this.
Thank you.
Item 3 on our agenda is a request to pay off the promissory note for Santee Cooper with funds from the sale of the Kavanaugh tract. Mr. Inglese.
Mr. Chairman, several years ago, the county took on a promissory note that is in your packet. This was, my understanding, involved a spec building that was built at the time, and I don't have all the details, but I don't know if Rick is here. If you have questions on the details from back then, Rick can answer them. But the bottom line is that there's a $1,213,800 promissory note that the county is obligated to pay. We've paid interest-only payments for the last several years in the amount of $24,000 a year. But that interest-only payment will end, and next year the county will be required to make a $252,468 payment, which will require a 1.6 mil increase to the debt service millage. So to avoid that potential debt service millage increase, we're proposing to utilize funds from the sale of the Kavanaugh tract to satisfy that debt.
There was a briefing in our packet as well, so we'd open up any questions for council before we move for a motion. Hearing none, is there a motion related to this agenda item?
I make a motion. That was one of the first things I wanted to do with the money.
Okay, so there's a motion that we take care of, motion that we pay off that debt with this. Is that your motion, Ms. Airwood? I don't
Yes,
want to
it
put
is.
words in your
Yes,
mouth.
it is.
Okay, all right. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Reader. Is there discussion?
Mr. Chairman, just one detail. The auditor did notify us that the interest portion of this payment can be paid with existing funds in the debt service account. So we have more than enough to pay this off.
Okay. Any discussion from council? Hearing none, all in favor by show of hands. Opposed likewise. It carries unanimously. I think this is just a wise move for our county. I really do. All right, request for approval of the fee schedule and policy for renting the fire training facility. And moving forward is our EMD director, Mr. Tommy Long.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Public Safety Committee met on the 15th, and it was approved to move forward to full council the fire training facility and prop schedule, fee schedule I had put together. So I'm here tonight to get council's approval to move forward. We had one recommendation by the committee to change, and I've made that addition on the document. So I'm here tonight to ask for council's approval to move forward with being able to lease this facility out to industries that they're interested in doing training on at our facility. And I can answer any questions or try to if you have any.
Any questions for Mr. Long before we consider this? Should have it in your packet as well.
Who will they come to lease it through? Will it be our,
Who's gonna handle it?
Yeah.
It'll come through my office.
come through your office?
Yes, ma'am.
So you'll be sure that they have the proper insurance?
The proper
as-
insurance, they'll have to have, proper insurance and have us added as an additional insurance on their policies before we let them use the facility.
Other questions?
Yeah, do we have any idea of what we anticipate the usage will be?
At this point, the main ones I've had asked is being able to train their firefighters. If the industry's got a fire brigade, they have to do live burn training once a year. And an example is your previous employee already approached us about doing so. So that's the main thing I've had questions for so far, is to get them certified at least once a year. And hopefully some of our industries in the county will look at getting fire brigades added back to their facilities, and we can help them do that as well.
Are there other questions? All right, is there a motion that we approve the fee schedule and policy for renting the fire facility? There's a motion by Mr. Livingston, there's a second by Mr. Shealy. Is there discussion? Hearing none, all in favor by show of hands. Opposed likewise, it carries unanimously. Next on the agenda, so he just staying put, is the request of approval for a full-time position for emergency services coordinator.
Okay, if most of y'all are aware, we had a combined position with the city of Newberry, and what we're doing is we're doing away with that position, so some of those fundings, which was about $40,000, is gonna go toward this position. And I also had some other funding in my budget I was able to use. Looking forward to making this an additional position under my current control to help manage things like I just presented with the fire training facility and different things, and I've got a job description that we'll put out to fill this position. So I'm here tonight to ask the council to approve and move forward with this funding this position out of the budget, the funds I have in the budget for this coming year.
Okay. And as I understood that from the Public Safety Committee meeting, that includes the reduction of not paying the city half of that
Correct.
salary, correct?
Correct.
So that we're clear about that.
So it's no new monies out of the budget?
Not this year, no. There would be some additional money starting next year, but
But
it's,
we've got some options on the table to try to increase some funding in different areas that I hadn't presented. One of those things we discussed at that meeting that night was the tax fee we're looking at presenting.
So 46,000 of that would carry over, but we would need to make up the difference.
It's
After.
20,000 from a contract we're no longer going to be using, and 40,000 from that combined position. So we got the 60,000
Yeah.
already.
Yeah.
So it's covered.
So it's about a $15,000 shortfall, but we're not looking at adding this position to like October, so that will
Yeah,
not
it'll be.
affect this year's budget.
The only question, and I read the description, would they possibly help with any of the paperwork from some of the fires and everything?
That's my long-range goal, is to have them more out in the field, working with the fire chiefs and the rescue chiefs more.
Because that
the
was kind of
reports
some
and-
things I had heard, that they get
Absolutely,
tons of paperwork they have to do after an emergency or,
absolutely. That's one of the key things they'll be doing, is working closer with the chiefs and assistant chiefs and the fire and rescue squads.
give
and
them some
Help
help.
relieve some of that tension on them, or help train them if they need, whatever they may need.
Yeah, okay.
This is one of those positions that I think we've needed for quite some time. It's probably gotten more and more relevant, especially with the amount of stuff that the fire department's having to go out to the interstate on. It will be a recurring cost, but I think, again, the recurring part of it would be about $20,000 above what we're currently doing,
Right.
which is only 1/5 of a meal. So it's not like it's gonna be, for the value that we'll have to the fire departments, et cetera, I think it will be very, very, very much well-spent monies. I think the taxpaying citizens would be happy to pay that additional $15,000.
Okay. You took the words out of my mouth, as they say. So having said that, is there a motion that we approve this request? Motion by Mr. Livingston, second by Ms. Airwood. I saw two hands went up at once. Ms. Airwood, is there a discussion? Hearing none, all in favor by show of hands, and opposed likewise, it carries unanimously.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Tommy. I hope that this will really help you and our volunteers.
It will greatly.
Okay? The next item on our agenda is something that we had all requested, and that is council discuss building permit fees and other fees in fiscal year 22-23. Ron, did you have something you wanted to present to us to start with?
No, sir, I just wanted to be here to answer any questions you may have.
Okay. Mr. Iglesias, is there anything you wanted to?
No, sir, I think Ron provided some handouts from some questions that were presented.
There was some information requested for comparison fees. And so that should have been on top of your stack.
Yes, it is. Y'all want a few minutes to review this before we talk? Give us just a minute,
Okay.
please. You sit down if you like, or stand if you like. I don't want to rush anyone. If you've had a chance to review it, we'd be glad to open up for discussion amongst council.
About 2 more minutes.
2 more minutes, she said. You take all the time that you need. have the nod from our First Lady, so we will move forward. Now we open the floor for discussion. Or questions, we can bring Ron back up for questions.
What's a plan review involve?
A plan review involves the, looking at the footings, the foundation, the framing, all life safety items such as window placements, the size of windows, smoke detectors, electrical safety. We don't hold the permit up to do a plan review. We do that on the backside to keep projects moving. So whenever I do a plan review, I find a violation or something that's a problem, I call the builder and let them know. We do it within 2 weeks after the permit's issued. So we try not to hold up projects waiting on a plan review.
How much time is involved in a plan review?
It depends on the, how complicated the house is, it may be. Are you referring to residential only? Residential's is not too lengthy, maybe at the most 30 minutes, 45 minutes.
Ron, in past plan reviews, would it be a fair statement to say you do the plan review to identify whether or not the planned work is in compliance with codes that you will then inspect to?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, that's
And
correct.
so without the plan review, the first time someone may be aware that they're not in compliance with a code would be whenever you did the inspection.
Yes, sir, and then it's a costly repairs to make, it takes time and money to make changes, so we try to catch it up front quick as we can.
Okay.
And for your inspection fee, if I'm correctly, for re-inspection, it will double each time thereafter?
Yes, so that's been in our ordinance for many, many years, that the inspection fee doubles each time. I probably issue about 3 inspection fees a week, maybe. Not very many, it's a few.
So about 3 re-inspections?
Yeah, re-inspections a week, yeah.
But technically, that's it. I know we got one builder here, but technically, that's kind of at the fault of the builder that you have to go out for a second inspection. Would that be correct? Am I wrong?
Yes, sir. When something's disapproved and a correction has to be made, charge a re-inspection fee and go back and look at it.
And we have always had the plan review fee in place or not?
Yes, sir. Yeah, residential and commercial, yes, sir.
And it has always been 1/2 of the permit cost?
Yes, sir.
Was that billed? I thought I'd heard somewhere along the line that had not been charged to people.
Not on residential, always on commercial, but not on
Okay.
residential.
So we had it in place, but we weren't billing for it.
We weren't billing it, that's right.
I got you.
Yes,
So
sir.
just so that I'm clear in my head that I'm understanding.
Yeah.
But here's part of the concern and the issue, I think, that why we're getting so many phone calls. You went from I'll just use the $100,000 figure.
Yep.
You had a $470 one, and now you got a $520, and then you're doing 1/2 of it for the plan review, which pushes it out to $780 where it had been $470.
Right.
You go down to what typically, I guess you would say almost is a common house anymore, $300,000. You go from $1,070 to $2,205. That's a pretty significant increase.
Absolutely.
So there's where your sticker shock's just causing so many phone calls to us that, again, whether me not reading in detail or whether it was not presented in detail, but that's why we're getting caught now with so many people calling and complaining about this major jump.
I feel like the jump is the fee that we had not been charging. I don't know why can you tell us why maybe you'd been told not to charge it, or?
I didn't get an explanation, but we were told not to charge the plan review fee on residential, so.
And I do see where there are other counties that don't necessarily do a charge for the plan review. I think there's one or two in here that I think I saw. Again, just looking at it after being seated here. Really, I guess when you're, and again, Ron, you know how much of a fan I am of you, and you know how much a fan that, and I told you this the other day, the builders in Newberry County truly respect you probably more than anybody that's ever walked in your shoes probably in any county. I mean, they're just very, very complimentary of you. But there again, a plan review that takes 30 minutes and we potentially going to charge $735 for a plan review, that's pretty strong hourly labor rate.
If you get that, you wouldn't be here, would you?
That's right, that's right.
And again, I do feel like we do need to add a person in your department, but I just think it's pretty astronomical to go from what basically on a $300,000 home from $1,070 to $2,205. Plan review fee, half the cost. I mean, I could support a fourth of the cost. And then one of the things, just looking in comparison to some other things, and again, this is because of some of the problems that I see we're encountering, and again, this is rearview mirror, but when we're looking at single-wide manufactured homes fee for $100, double-wide for $200, and then when we look at the eyesore we got out on Highway 34 and some other places around the county with mobile home parks, I just wish there was some way, we got into this big conversation regarding solar panels and how to dispose of those, but something we might need to look at future-wise is if you're going to have a mobile home park, you need to have a disposal plan in place to take care of that. I know that's not on here, but the fee charge on that is just extremely low compared to what problems it causes when they're left sitting.
Yeah. We've been a lot of years without any fee increases, so a little bit of it's catch up, I guess.
I had a question. Did I interrupt you?
No, I'm good.
Oh, okay. I had a question, just so that I'm getting this right in my mind. Because the way it reads is the permit for a $100,000 house and the permit for a $199,000 house is the same amount.
I'm not sure what page you're looking at.
The new fee increase scale goes 50, 100, 200, 300, 400.
You looking on the front page?
I'm looking right
Back
here
here?
at the new scale, yes.
So you saying the first valuation at 50 to 100?
Yeah. So if it's in between there, if it's, let's use yours, if it's 50,000 or it's 99,000, it's the same price?
If $5,001 to 50,000 is $50 for the first 1,000, then $10 for each additional 1,000.
Okay,
For the
that's
first
not
5,000.
listed. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm looking at the wrong page. Okay, all right. Now, which page is that? This is the new one over here?
Yeah, the new one.
I think, am I right? This is is this kind of the new running?
That's what it said. It said new fee increase. That's why I was looking at it, is because it was titled new fee
That's-
increase scale.
On the front, it has the base $1,000 fee at $50.
Yes.
Okay, all right.
But it's,
And this is just an example.
But
of
it's
that.
here, not, okay, all
this
right.
is just condensing it for a snapshot.
Condensed it too much for a simple mind. Okay, I'm with you now.
One of the things I think that's causing us part of this problem is the fact that, I think Ron just identified it, we have gone so many years without any fee increases, and we look at what he's presented, and I think it's very much in line, at least with these other counties around us. So I don't think what we're talking about is some uncomparable price to those around us. It's just that we haven't done anything for so many years, and then when we do it in a step increase, it's very painful. And, that's on council, I think. and administration that we haven't been looking at this and gradually addressing it through the years instead of all of a sudden expecting everybody to take one shot, and it's hard.
Well, he was told not to charge the fee on the review. So everything's going up, half of that, right, for any permit. That's the problem. Not necessarily that we're coming in line, because I've looked, we're in line, we're under on some counties,
Yeah, I think
we're in line.
the sticker shock is
That fee
Fee,
that they've not been paying, so,
148 a square foot for evaluation on ICC's data chart is actually less than some new houses are going now.
Oh,
Some
you-
$195, $200 a square foot
I don't think
now.
you could do it for that. If you could
Yeah.
do it for that, you ought to sign.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm definitely in favor of standardizing, going with the ICC, a standardized basis. I mean, we don't need everybody coming in and having a different price of what they think they might be able to produce something for, and then paying a fee based on that. I mean, we ought to have some standardization, and I'm definitely
That
think
is part of this proposal, to get all that standardized so everybody be on the same playing field.
And most of these other counties around us are using that, and I would say there's a reason for that.
Absolutely.
Because you take out you make everybody play by the same set of rules.
And I think in the past, it was brought up to accept contract amounts rather than using that valuation data. And I would, I'd propose that. I would welcome using a contract amount, but we need a legitimate contract to do that.
I had,
understand.
I thought about
Very
this
much. Yeah.
some too, Ron, and you identified it at our last meeting. And if we go to the ICC codes as a basis, as our baseline standardized code, based on our history, there would be some buildings that would pay more because they were undervalued. There were some that may have been overvalued that would pay less.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
So it kind of sets a baseline that everybody plays by the same set of rules. As far as these actual fees, am I correct in my understanding that the fees that we are proposing, these were the fees that were in the budget that we've already approved?
Yes, sir, that's right.
So, just for clarification, for parliamentary reasons or procedural reasons or whatever, to reduce these fees will require a budget amendment.
Absolutely.
And so then it'll have to go through our 3 readings, a public hearing, and that's not a problem. I mean, that's what we do. We make rules, and we alter rules. So that's not a problem, if that's the direction we want to go in. So since what we have is already in place by law, if we want to revisit these fees and reduce some of them, any of them, whatever, then would it not be, Mr. Chairman, a good idea for us to take this information and have a planned date by which we want to readdress any budget amendments, or are we ready to do a budget amendment tonight? I mean,
That's the question for council, is do we want to have, if you chose to reduce it tonight, then we could do that, but you'd have to have that first reading as a.
you have to do it tonight, and then you got subsequent meetings.
It's not on the agenda as
Oh,
an
true.
ordinance, so.
Yeah, so we'd have to have them prepare an ordinance for us to
Right.
vote on at the next meeting.
So we could do a couple of things. You can take a majority vote and give us some direction.
Yes. That would be the other option.
Another option would be to kick it to committee for a deep
That's what we
dive.
talked about. We could take a majority vote and tell them to revert to this till we could prepare the budget ordinance.
And another thing that we could do as a caveat in doing so, and correct me if this is wrong or whatever, but we could collect the fees in accordance with our law, our current budget. But if we amend the budget, could we also amend it to refund the fees? If we reduce any fees, those people that paid the increased fee from the day the budget was passed, July 1, to the day that we amend the budget, which might be August 1, I'm just going to say arbitrarily, if somebody paid during that time period an increased fee, and then we reduce the fee structure at that time, can we go back and refund the amount back to what the approved budget would be?
I think that would be a logistical nightmare to
It
try
would
to
be.
manage.
Well, I'm asking, that's why I'm asking the
Yeah,
question.
yeah, I think
And if
you
it's-
say not right now, or either go ahead, one or
Yeah.
the other, but I think refunding gets into a,
Yeah, refund, we did, just alone, we did 18 new houses last month, or it may have been in May, but that's just new houses alone. We issue numerous permits daily. So,
Have you issued any with the new
we
revised?
issued one new house with the new fees. It was a $5,000. It was a high-end house. The permit fee was like $4,400 with plan review attached. So it was it was a full basement, a floor, and a
when you
lot
say
of-
five, you mean 500,000, right?
5,000 square foot.
Oh, square feet,
house.
okay,
Square foot house.
okay. $5,000 house had that big of a,
Yeah.
okay.
Mr. Chairman, on the plan review fee, Ron is very efficient, and he's been doing this a long time. In the event we have to contract out plan review, we will likely be billed closer to 3 or 4 hours, and even more for a residential plan review, at the tune of a couple $100 an hour.
Yes, $260 first hour. That includes a travel charge. Then $85 an hour after that is the minimum charge.
So we're looking at $400 plus for a basic residential plan review, in the event that Ron's not available. And
Based on what I've heard from most of the contractors, my goal will be to get him help sooner rather than later for what he's doing, because time is money for those guys, and so we really want to try to get them out there to them.
Absolutely.
Ron, you had stated we are in the guideline with what the state suggested to do.
Yes, sir, we are. We're in close proximity to other jurisdictions. I think I put 4 or 5 adjoining jurisdictions in that packet.
That's correct.
I think Fairfield County is lower than us. We're right in there with Saluda County, Lawrence County. Greenwood County doesn't show a plan review, but they actually charge one on commercial, but not on residential. They make up for some of their loss by charging a full fee for a residential structure, a permit, and also they additionally charge a separate electrical, plumbing, and mechanical permits. So they have some fees that other folks don't have. So we're pretty much in line with a lot of the adjoining jurisdictions.
You can go forward.
Just a whole lot at one time will change.
A whole lot of change at one time. The biggest
It's that
part is the
fee.
plan review.
Well, it's the fee.
It's the
And,
fee.
and Les
Yeah,
said a while
plan
ago,
review.
it's previous council, and I guess he and I are the only two, you on 8 years before this term? And myself, I've been on for
That's
some
right.
period of time, so I mean, if you want to look at it and look anybody technically to blame on council, I guess we're the two that has been on here longer than anybody from the standpoint of letting it go. However, I still feel that jumping as much as we're jumping is somewhat biting off, and again, we're close, I think, with some of the others, but again, I just went and calculated, if we did a fourth for plan review versus a half, you would be on a $50,000 one, you'd be looking at $625 total versus 750. 100,000 would be 680 versus 780. 200,000, 994 versus 1455. 300,000, 1846 versus 2205. And then 400,000 would be 2468 versus 2955. You can argue that from both sides. One, it's not that much of a savings, but it's not that much of an add-on, not much of a loss for us. So I guess my thought is, could we do it for a fourth for maybe 2 years and then come back and add another fourth 2 years later and get it to a half if we wanted to? It's just a lot to throw on people at one time. It's
I think the commercial, though, needs to stay.
absolutely.
Manufacturing and commercial is, those are plans are
Those
very,
take sometimes 2 and 3 weeks to do those, one set of plans.
Only thing is we don't want to get commercial to the point where we deter economic development.
Yeah.
but were they not charging them either?
Yes, ma'am, we were. Yeah,
They
we've
were.
always
They were.
charged
They were.
commercial
So
and industrial.
We're okay.
Yeah,
It's not gonna be any difference for them.
yeah.
Chairman,
Yes, sir.
we're gonna debate on whether we change it or not.
I think that it's worth the discussion, yes.
Well, we certainly don't wanna deter residential building either.
Right.
Right.
But that's what we're in desperate need of.
Only thing I would say on that is, I don't want to deter, but I do think when we have somebody who is coming in with, subdivisions, that we possibly should look at an impact fee to try
Impact
to
fees on those.
have an impact fee in place.
Got to.
That would be my suggestion.
That's a necessity, I think.
Again, we can't put that in place right now, but I just think that's something we need to think about long and hard, because there's also been some people talking about wanting to get more water and sewer throughout the county. Folks, if we want to look like Lexington or Richland or some of those counties, everywhere where you put water through this county and sewer through this county, you're gonna have subdivisions come hopping up because people are gonna be after that location. So, I'm not so sure I'm all in favor of putting a whole lot of water and sewer throughout the little fingers of Newberry County, which we don't control that. That's Newberry County Water and Sewer Board determines where they're going with that. But I'm not so sure that promoting a whole lot of water and sewer throughout our county is what this little county wants. But I do think if we do have it, we need to have an impact fee, because that's gonna cost us more than anything. Not these builders like Myron and the MC Builders back here that's building 10 or 12 a year around our county. When somebody goes in here and puts 80 or 90, that's when we need an impact fee.
That's where we need to make up the difference.
Yes.
Totally agree. But until such time, I guess, until we make a decision and have a discussion, we're gonna have to stick what we've already got in place until such time.
Unless they would be
We're
a,
not gonna be able to go back and refund, because that would be like I said,
Nightmare.
county nightmare.
unless we were to direct staff to handle it differently until we get the budget ordinance approved.
Delay implementation.
Yep.
Or you could do the same thing as we had done.
I was gonna say, that's what's been done.
We're not charging for,
The,
Plan review.
the plan review for residential.
don't charge for the plan review like we weren't before.
I'm not one that says this, because we've done it already, always doesn't make it right, but at the same time,
Until we make a final decision.
but I think that needs to be sooner rather than, I don't think we just need to put it off forever. I think we need to come back with a budget ordinance to fix it, if that's what we choose to do.
Like as Mary
We
said,
have we voted this in?
Yes, we have voted this in.
as Mary has said, it's the plan review that's the big change. It's not anything else.
No, we're in line, I mean,
Yeah.
look, we're
Everybody
under,
wants.
we're under on some, but maybe our dollars over a certain amount is a little different. We're
Not
under,
even- 9% of them in guidelines with everyone else.
so we're very much in line, except for that fee that
What we gonna
they
wait
have been
for then?
instructed not to
Right.
charge.
Why we want to put off?
I think it is, the proverbial Band-Aid. Are you gonna put it off slow, or are you gonna jerk it off all at once? Anybody have a motion related to our discussion? Let's do it that way.
I would have rather did it before July 1st.
Okay.
If we were gonna do it.
Okay.
But since it's after July now,
Well, he's only done one, so if we gave them instructions of what we're gonna do,
It-
how the right way is, if we were gonna say a 25%, then we would, I guess, could instruct them what to do.
I don't hear, is there a motion? Last call. Hearing no motion, we'll move on to other discussion. Are there other fees that we would need to discuss? I have one. I was just notified today, I think maybe some of us all found out that there is a fee associated with using the online records at the courthouse. I'm not gonna say I wasn't told, but if I was told, I don't remember. And so, I would like for us to have a discussion of those, because I don't believe the intent of putting the records online was to charge a fee to attach them. Madam Clerk, do you want to come up and say anything to us?
Okay, it was a fee that was to be charged. Let me start off saying this. I was never in favor of the records going online to begin with because of everything that goes on in the county now. Well, not just Newberry County, but the scams and stuff like that. And everybody's records is out there, mine, yours, everybody's. And, you know, now people just go online and look at anything. But with this being charged, they can go online, anybody can go online, no fee for looking at the indexes. But when you go to copy or anything, then there is a fee. That way it's more secure because anybody just can't go on there and, a scammer will pay $5 a day or $30 a month. But, that's my opinion. So
Okay.
it's up to y'all. I checked with, I'm off this week. Beverly checked with our vendor. And if we don't charge anything, it'll be $500 more a month. We're only paying $3,541.70 now. But if you pay the it's $350 per month, and then it's the $30 a month to sign up, or $5 a day, and that's what we collect. When they collect it, Avenue collects it, we get 80% to the county, and 20% goes to Avenue for our collections. So, it's up to y'all,
Okay.
But,
so
in my
you-
opinion, it's better to do it, but, that's just my opinion. But, we checked with them today, and most, counties that are on with them charge, maybe one or two or three doesn't.
Okay.
But he said all across the country, everybody charges.
So let me clarify what you said to make sure I heard you correctly, because sometimes you can say it and I hear it differently. To research online there's no charge for that.
Right, the indexes are, they go back to, 1983, the indexes.
Okay.
And you can look at all those indexes, and then after, you can't view anything or copy until, let's see, it's October of 2003. That's when you can start viewing and make copies.
Okay.
So you can pull it up and look at that, but
You can look at the
cannot
indexes.
print.
You can look at the
But
index.
you can't look at the deeds.
You can't look at the deeds or documents. Now, whenever I do, whichever way you go, I am gonna have all the power of attorneys
Yeah,
and death
that's-
certificates not be on where you can see those.
That's a good idea.
And, a lot of it, I wasn't really in favor because we have social security numbers, now we redact them. And, but it's some stuff out there that I just, I don't like nobody looking at my stuff, and I'm sure, and we do have people call us complaining because they can pull up on the assessor's website and see how much somebody paid for something. And, we just tell them it's not us, that they have to, contact somebody else, so. But that's just me.
Okay.
All right, question. I know Lexington does not charge anything at all.
Okay.
They've got population 4 or 5 times ours probably as a county. How many cases of scamming have they had in their county?
Well, I have no idea, but that's just me. And, we're a small county, and you have older people here, so.
I guess I'm just saying, I don't
Yeah,
know
I
that
know,
there's a reflection of, there's too many big counties that's doing it, that's scamming.
And they're not charging. They're bigger counties, and we're losing our copy money and, but, it's up to y'all.
Well, looking at it, our GIS is online, it's free. The assessor data is free, it's online.
But you're
Treasurer,
not, I'm sorry, go ahead.
treasurer, you can look up if your taxes are paid. You can actually pay them if you want to. That doesn't cost unless you do make a transaction. You can look up, and the state made us do this, you can look up court cases.
I know, the state did it. I'm not fond of that either, but
The
got no
Animal
control
control,
over that.
they have their site. The sheriff, you can see who's in jail. I don't understand, it's a public record, why, I can understand not putting some of the things that you know that people would scam people by, power of attorneys and a couple things like that.
Well,
But-
we've had people call us or come in or bring letters in that say that people have gotten their deeds off the line and they could make copies for them. And, we charge, what?
There's a
10
company
yeah.
that does that, yeah.
And then they do it, and then they tell these people that they can make them a copy and charge them $75.
Yeah.
So we get letters, and people come in with letters like that. But like I say, it's up to you. But,
One thing about it, a scammer, $5 is not going to stop them from,
No, $30.
$30 is not going to stop a scammer. I mean, if they're in it for the,
well, they
wrong-
have to go on and put all the information, and they put what they want to. You got to have login with the ID and password and all that stuff. So, whatever y'all want to do.
I wasn't sure what it sounded like I think I let council know that it would cost us $4,200 for a year in addition to the service
Yeah,
we're already
and
paying
if
for.
you don't do it, you're gonna have to increase my
It's gonna-
budget
It's
for
gonna be
that.
more than that.
Well,
If it's free, I think I heard Beth say that there's an additional cost because the company's not gonna be collecting that subscription.
I
And I don't know
understand.
I don't know what number to give you, what that additional cost will be.
Well, you said 500 a month, right?
Yeah, well, plus what they pay now, yeah, $500
Yeah,
extra
so it'd be
month.
$6,000 additional to put it,
Additional.
yeah.
Okay.
Of course, you will save a lot on your ink and your things that people's been coming in to copy with. So,
That's a revenue loss for the county. They won't be coming and printing.
but you
No,
won't
but
be
we
using
get-
the ink and cartridges
right.
either.
Right.
We get a lot of we get a lot of texts, or emails rather, not me texts, emails, people wanting us to send them stuff. Which, once we go online, they can pay the fee and they can get it. And a lot of abstractors, they won't be coming in. So, if an abstractor wants it, they'll pay the $30 a month and get it. But, but to me, like a deed, somebody could copy it. I mean, this world, you don't know. Somebody could get the deed, copy it, and then redo it, sign it, and, you just never know. But I tell you right now, if y'all decide to do it, and people get it, they'll call y'all. So that's it.
Hold on, before you go
Anything
sit
else?
down, is there any other questions for the clerk before she sits down? You're on vacation, you said?
I am.
Bless your heart. Thank you so much for
Yeah.
coming in tonight and speaking with us. And the fee was how much? Somebody repeat that to me.
$30 a month, $5 a day.
Okay.
Do a one-time license for $5, or if they want to have a monthly subscription, if they're an abstract or professional that needs it, it's $30 a month. And that's unlimited availability without having to drive or find a parking space or pay for printing at the courthouse.
Okay. Are there any other, go
Well,
ahead.
just,
Chip.
just a point of clarification, I've heard a comment I made about free, but it's not gonna be free. It's, the budget is what it is. You have to, X number of dollars that we've provided that you have to run your department with. My point is that we can either charge the user, or we can charge all the property taxpayers. But there is a charge. There's no such thing as free here. We don't have an investment we're drawing from that we're making money somewhere that we can do something for free. We get money from taxpayers and user fees, and we return it in form of services. In this service, we can either choose to make all the property taxpayers pay for the service or some. I'm not, I don't have a significant opinion either way, except that, somebody's paying for it. Somebody in our community is paying for that service, regardless of whether we do
They
it
pay for all
on
of
a
these.
user or whether or not everybody pays for it.
It's
But
a
it's being paid
service.
for.
It's a service to the community and our professional community too.
Any other discussion? Is there a motion related to the online fees for that? I didn't realize that it was only to print that you did that, so.
Well, you don't see the full
You don't
deed.
see you don't
Gotcha.
see it
You're
either,
just gonna see you don't see the index, right?
That's it.
just
So-
the index.
Okay. All right. Is there a motion related to those fees?
Well, if we're gonna do anything with the building fees, we need to do both of these together.
There was no motion made to that. I asked twice and gave a final call, so. Last call for this one.
Just let him have his way.
Okay. All right, hearing none, are there other fees that we want to discuss?
Well, the copier fee, at 50 cents a copy. I've not seen anywhere where it's 50 cents a copy. And
Is that black and white?
We did look around and find other places charging 50 cents and even $1 in some places.
where were they?
The motion related to the copy fee.
I still think it should be 30 cents a copy,
Okay.
It's
Again,
35 now.
35, I'm okay with that, but I mean,
I
again.
think I'm right.
And it's gonna,
Ours, it
30.
was 30, it was 30?
It was 30 cents a
30.
copy.
Yeah, I'm
And we
wrong,
hadn't
I'm
went
sorry.
up in years. And one reason we did that is our copiers, our toner, paper is gone up. So, that's why it went up to then. And we have people that come in and they, when they make a copy, if it doesn't do right, they'll throw it away or something like that, and that's just wasted. So, but anyway, that's just my opinion. So we hadn't, our copies, we've checked with people coming in and out. Now, I don't know who you've talked to or whatnot, but they say their copies of ours are some of the cheapest. So, anyway. And I need to know about the land records because I've got to redo the contract. And they're planning on starting them, they were supposed to start 1st of July, but they had some complications or other things ahead. So it'll be the middle of August, and I need to let the guy know. So-
Nothing has changed.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay? Thank you. There a motion on the copy fees?
Let it go.
Hearing none, any other? All right, item number 7 on our agenda, ordinance number 05-14-2022, an ordinance amending portions of Chapter 34, Newberry County Code of Ordinance, revising provisions dealing with amounts requiring county council approval, state and federal purchasing, and sale and transfer of surplus property, surplus county property. I'm sorry, I left out a word there. This is first the public hearing. There is no one signed up for the public hearing, but is there anyone that is here that would like to speak on that matter? Hearing and seeing no one, we will declare the public hearing closed unless there is an exception from county council. Hearing none, the public hearing is now closed. Subsection B would be the third and final hearing. Is there a motion related to this ordinance? Motion by Mr. Hipp, second by Mr. Reeder. Is there discussion? All in favor by show of hands, opposed likewise. Item number 8 on our agenda, ordinance number 05-15-2022, an ordinance to impose a 1% sales tax subject to referendum within Newberry County pursuant to the Capital Project Sales Tax Act to define the specific purposes and designate the projects for which the proceeds of the tax may be used, to provide the maximum cost of the projects or facilities funded from the proceeds to be raised by the tax, subject to funding cost overruns as provided by law, to provide for a countywide referendum and to concur in the contents of the ballot question in such referendum, to establish the priority in which the proceeds of the tax are to be expended, to authorize the issuance of general obligation bonds of Newberry County, subject to such referendum, to defray cost of projects and issuance cost, to provide for the conduct of such referendum, to provide for the administration of the tax, to provide for the payment of the tax, and to provide for other matters relating thereto. Item subsection A is the public hearing. There's no one signed up for the public hearing. Is there anyone here that has come to speak on this matter? Hearing none, unless there's objection from any member of council, we'll declare the public hearing closed. Hearing none, the public hearing is now closed. Subsection B is the motion for a third and final reading. Is there such motion? Mr. Hipp makes that motion. Mr. Shealy seconds the motion. Is there discussion?
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Just for the record, I want to make sure that council's aware that on the public safety complex, the original drawing that CPST committee considered included demolishing the front barn at the old fairgrounds. We have been working to modify that site plan to preserve the barn. And so just want to make sure that it's a matter of record that that site plan will be subject to change and is not final in any way, but it doesn't affect the budget and what's on the ballot and what's being considered for third reading.
Okay, thank you for that information. Are there questions or discussion amongst council? Hearing none, all in favor by show of hands, opposed likewise, it carries unanimously. Item number 9 on the agenda is ordinance number 05-17-2022, which is an ordinance acting on a request to amend the official zoning map established pursuant to the zoning ordinance number 12-2401 and revised and amended by zoning ordinance number 6-1116 and codified in chapter 153 of the Newberry County Code of Ordinance, establishing zoning classifications in districts so as to rezone one real estate property parcel totaling 779 acres, 0.779 acres, designated as TMS parcel number 395-39 from RS Single Family Residential to R2 Rural. Are there any changes since last time? Just on that confirmation, we'll declare the public hearing open in this matter. No one signed up for the public hearing, but if there's anyone here who would like to speak at the public hearing regarding this ordinance, may do so now. Hearing none, If there's no objection from any member of council, we'll move the public hearing closed. Public hearing is closed. Subsection B of this ordinance is the third and final reading. Is there a motion related to this being third and final reading? Motion by Mr. Livingston, second by Reverend Scurry. Is there discussion amongst council? Hearing none, all in favor by show of hands, and opposed likewise. Motion carries unanimously. Item number 10 on our agenda is ordinance number 0518-2022, an ordinance authorizing the expenditure of capital project sales tax funds and matters relating thereto. And this is related to the 2017 CPTST bonds and the Whitmire, where they had to demo the building and build back. This is the public hearing on that matter. There's no one signed up to speak at the public hearing, but if anyone is here to speak on that matter, you may come forward. Seeing and hearing no one, unless there's objection of this council, we will move to declare the public hearing closed. Public hearing is now closed. Item subsection B under this ordinance is the third and final reading. Is there a motion this be third reading? Mr. Shealy makes the motion. Mr. Livingston makes the second. Is there discussion? All in favor by show of hands and opposed likewise. Motion carries unanimously. Item number 11 is an ordinance number 0516-2022, an ordinance establishing procedures and requirements for entering into development agreements in Newberry County. This is our first reading. Mr. Inglese. Ron, sorry.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I was at this meeting, and the Planning Commission voted 5-3-0. 5 in favor, 3 abstained, and 0 against. So they voted to bring it before y'all as approved by them. So.
And one amendment that was made in the Planning Commission deliberations was to add a requirement that the zoning administrator consult the school district and bring the findings and recommendations from the superintendent to the Planning Commission. So any development agreement that came to Planning Commission would include the school district in the discussions and include those findings and recommendations for consideration. It doesn't mean that the county council will be bound by the school district's recommendations, but you will at least have that information when you consider a proposed land development agreement.
Okay. I just have a question from my own curiosity. Why the abstentions? Do you know?
One of them said that they wanted to see impact fees. Another one said they needed additional information to vote. And the third one said impact fees too.
Well, I agree with 2 of those.
And the good news about this, once it's on the books, is we will be able to negotiate impact fees within the development agreement. That's one of the things you can do and are authorized to do by state statute.
Okay. Are there other questions from members of council? Hearing none, is there a motion this be first reading? Motion by Mr. Shealy, second by Mr. Livingston. Thank you, sir. By Mr. Livingston. Is there discussion?
Just, you know, right now, I'm still waiting for more information. I'll first and second to keep it alive and keep it going.
There you go. Okay. Any other discussion? All in favor by show of hands? Opposed likewise. Carries unanimously. Thank you very much, Ron. Item number 12, ordinance number 06-19-2022, which is an ordinance acting on a request to amend the official zoning map established pursuant to zoning ordinance number 12-2401 as revised and amended by zoning ordinance number 6-11-16 and codified in chapter 153 of the Newberry County Code of Ordinances, establishing zoning and classification and districts so as to rezone one real estate parcel totaling 3 and 3.87 acres, 3.87 acres designated as TMS number 28-1-1-6 from R2 Rural to GC General Commercial. This is the first reading, and she is present and standing.
Yes. This request was made by the property owner to rezone his property at 411 SC Highway 39 in in Chapels, from R2 Rural to General Commercial for a potential warehouse storage facility for his business. Some of the surrounding land uses include single-family residences and also commercial uses such as the Dollar General there and the filling station. Our current future land use map from the comprehensive plan identifies this property to be in the rural development area. The definition of the rural development is intended to be more land in the rural areas of the county, primarily used for lower residential, ag, and forestry. The staff recommended denial of the request, but the Planning Commission did vote to approve it.
Now, if it's going to be many warehouses, does he need an additional zoning waiver besides this as well?
Not if it's in commercial. So
Okay.
R2 Rural does allow many warehouses as a conditional use. But the condition that the resident cannot meet is he wants to go over the 3,000 square feet gross. That is a condition within the R2. So he's trying to go to general commercial so that he can go bigger than the allowed 3,000 square foot building.
Okay.
Was this properly posted in advance of the meeting for landowners nearby?
So we do send out contiguous landowner letters, so they were notified. Was anybody present at the meeting?
Yes, the adjoining neighbor was.
Adjoining neighbor was present at the meeting. It will go for a public hearing with you all, so that's when it will be advertised in the Newberry Observer, and the land will be posted at that point.
Was the landowner that was present in opposition to or in favor of?
No, sir, he just had questions. He wasn't sure what the property owner wanted to do. And so they talked amongst themselves, and I think they're in agreement, or there's no opposition.
I looked at this on the map, and of course, Dollar General's on one corner,
So it's the location of the old post office.
and then there's a service station. Well, looks like it should have been, in my opinion, in commercial reign anyway. The next comprehensive plan, I would think, would put it in the
It
commercial.
very well could change, yes, ma'am.
The old post office or the old post office?
Old post office.
The old
Okay.
post office.
Is that the one on the Dollar General side
And
of
actually,
Highway
it's, I believe,
34?
it's
Or
been
the
demoed, right?
Other side.
the scurry store
It's now
side?
been demoed. yes.
Okay.
They tear
That's
it
that
down.
old long building that's
Yeah,
set right
they
there?
tearing it down
Okay,
now.
all right.
I mean,
Really
that's
close
just,
to the road.
That's the
My
old post
thoughts
office, because it
that-
moved across the street for a little while, and now they're in the trailer over there.
Right.
could it have been missed in the last, well, that was 10 years ago, because it was a government building?
May have been.
But looking at it, it should have been in the commercial, it's in the corner. I mean, you know, typically the corners is where everybody wants.
Is there a motion related to this being first reading then? Motion by Reverend Scurry, second by Mr. Hipp. Is there discussion? All in favor by show of hands, opposed likewise. All right. Discussion of public information campaign for CPSD.
Mr. Chairman, we discussed this at, I think it was Finance Committee. We discussed briefly the idea of engaging a consultant to assist the county over the next summer months, going into the referendum that you just passed on third reading tonight for the CPST ballot. So the public information campaign would produce materials for public consumption that are compliant with the South Carolina Ethics Act, which, as you all know, says that we can't use county assets to promote a ballot initiative. However, we can educate and inform the public what is on the ballot. So the consultant would help draft a brochure, social media content, press releases, and other material that can be distributed that they have gone through the compliance process with the South Carolina Ethics Commission. And so I just wanted to throw that out there. It's less than $10,000. We can do it administratively to get it done. But wanted to make sure you were aware of that, and if there was any concerns or objections, then we can air that out. But we would like to move forward with getting that done, and getting that information out for public consumption very soon, so that we have the summer months to educate and inform everybody about what's on the ballot.
Any questions or concerns from council?
I certainly think it's a good idea to make the public aware so they don't go into the voting booth in November and see this thing for the first time. And it's good to have a good, objective, non-biased description, and then let people make their own decisions, but certainly give them the information so that they understand what these projects encompass. So I think it's a good idea.
Okay.
And we are okay to use taxpayer dollars to do this, because, I mean, again, I hear the word non-biased, but if it's promoting what we have on there, I can't help but see where it's gonna be biased.
The consultant's main task is to put material that's not promoting or advocating, but is purely educational and informational, which is sort of where you draw the line with the South Carolina Ethics Act. And we need their help. We don't want to dance in the gray area. We want them to go through that process, get the Ethics Commission's approval on the materials, draft it for us, get their approval, and then we can distribute it. And we'll distribute something we know is compliant and not promoting or advocating. That's the gist of hiring a consultant to help with that.
I think that's very valid. I don't want to go crossways on something like that. So, good point.
And this campaign, they would do the mailing or whatever we're gonna do.
They would provide us with the content, so then we could post it on our social media. We can do a mailing if we want. We would mail the brochure that they produce for us. They would give us a press release that we can, distribute to WKPK and the Observer.
I guess what I'm saying, it looks like some third party would have to release it instead of us.
We would release it. They would just produce the material. They would give us the substance. But we would do the distribution.
And we have Theo here. If we could call on you to, you're our authority on this whole CPST. Our discussion and our direction from Christopher about unbiased information, do you agree that that's okay?
It is, and there was an opinion, I think, in 2018, that any consultant would be paying attention to. I will tell you, I'm conservative, and some of the things that I saw that the Ethics Commission approved were probably a little beyond what I would have been personally comfortable with. But it's absolutely clear you can educate the voter. You can, does everybody read the Newberry Observer? Probably not. Here are the projects. Here's what they do. Here's why they're needed. Here's who sponsored them. Here's where they'll be. How do I vote for these? Can I vote for one but not the others? No. There's just a lot of information. And I think it's a great idea, because what you don't want is disinformation. Most referendums in the state are on schools. And that can be real hard, because it's hard to promote or information about a school without getting into one side of it or another. I think this is a little easier task, but I think it's a good idea. If you have somebody who's conversant with the rule and can talk to the Ethics Commission and say, look at this, then I think you'll be well served.
Okay. Sorry, Theo, I couldn't see you for the podium there. I didn't realize you were here.
I don't blend in, do I? No, I'm-
Well, that podium flatters you. No, I'm Any other questions about that? Hearing none, item number 14 on our agenda is an executive session. Code section 30-4-70 subsection A of the Code of Laws of South Carolina. Sorry.
I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman, just to be clear, are we authorizing our administration to go forward with this?
I don't need it. I
He
just,
he was just doing it for information,
Okay.
as I understood it.
yes, and if you had an objection, I would honor your objection. I didn't hear
Okay.
any, so we're going to move forward.
All right. Let's just start over. Code section 30-4-70 subsection A of the Code of Laws of South Carolina as amended 1976, discussion of employment, appointment, compensation, promotion, demotion, discipline, or release of an employee, a student, or a person regulated by a public body, or the appointment of a person to a public body. However, if the adversary hearing involving the employer-client is held, the employer-client has the right to demand the hearing be conducted publicly. Nothing contained in this item shall prevent the public body, in its discretion, from deleting names of other employees or clients whose records are submitted for use at the hearing. Subsection 2, which will be a consecutive executive session, is the discussion of negotiations, instance to propose contractual arrangements, and proposed sale or purchase of property, the receipt of legal advice where the legal advice relates to a pending, threatened, or potential claim or other matters covered by the attorney-client privilege, settlement of legal claims, or the position of the public agency in the adversary situations involving the assertion against the agency of a claim. Having said that, is there a motion that we move into executive session? Motion by Mr. Shealy, second by Mr. Reader. Is there a discussion? Hearing none, all in favor by show of hands. Opposed likewise. We will move ourselves into executive session. there a motion that we come out of executive session?
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Shealy and second by Ms. Harewood. Any discussion? All in favor by show of hands. Opposed likewise. It carries unanimously. Are there motions related to our executive session?
Yes, I'd like to move to approve change order number 1 on Phase 2A and 3 roadway project, project number 17113-0036 at Mid-Carolina Commerce Park 1 in the amount of $88,894.
You've heard the motion. Is there a second? Second by Mr. Shealy. Is there discussion related to this motion? Hearing none, all in favor by show of hands and opposed likewise, the motion carries unanimously. Any other motions related to executive session? Hearing none, item 15 is an adoption of the consent agenda, which contains the Economic Development Committee report, the county council meeting minutes, the County Finance Committee report and minutes, and the County Public Safety Committee report and minutes. Is there a motion that we approve the consent agenda with those all items inclusive? Motion by Mr. Shealy, second by Reverend Scurry. Is there discussion? All in favor by show of hands. Opposed likewise. That carries unanimously. Are there appointments tonight? Hearing none, public comments. Myron had signed up, Mr. Cantrell, but I believe he left. I don't see anybody else here for public comments, so we won't belabor that. Comments or requests from the county administrator? Okay. Comments or requests from council members, Mr. Shealy?
Appreciate everybody's hard work, and I do personally appreciate all the thoughts and prayers during my recent illness and surgery. Everything did come out great, and I'm glad to be back.
Okay. Mr. Livingston?
I'm gonna call on the historian right quick, but I think I heard today that Mr. Wyman Cook passed.
Yeah.
And he served on this council for 12 years. I think he's 93 years old. He'd been around for a good while, served this county for quite some time. So just keep his family in your thoughts and prayers, because he was around for a while.
Worked on telephones for many years.
Yep.
as well.
Quite a few years.
And then opened up his own business called Teldon, I think it was.
Teldon, that's exactly right.
Yeah.
Yeah. All us people with gray hair remember that kind of stuff. Miss Harewood?
I just hope everyone had a great 4th of July, and
Still recovering.
God bless America. So
Amen.
that's it.
Mr. Reader?
No comments.
Mr. Reverend Scurry?
No comment, Chairman.
Mr. Hipp?
No comments.
I too waive comments. Future meetings, executive committee meeting on July the 11th at 6 p.m. County council meeting July the 20th at 6 p.m. Is there a motion that we stand adjourned?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Shealy, second by Reverend Scurry. All in favor by show of hands. We stand adjourned. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you.